In this video we're going to be going over how to switch from the mixed pickup tubes to the new DQ required stainless steel or plastic mixed bag adapters. To start, first remove the front lid. Once you have that removed, there's a clip that holds the pickup tube in place. Remove that as well. Take the mix low cord off and then pull your pickup tubes out of the mix bucket. Once you have that done, remove your mix bucket. Now before continuing on, you're going to want to make sure there's no pressure on the barrel in which you're switching. By doing so, you can press the air bleed valve up top, or just do this in the morning before you assemble if that's your procedure. However, once you have no pressure, no product or water in the machine, you're going to start by loosening this thumb screw here. Taking the tan tubing loose, and then now we're going to remove the hose assembly. So first, turn your pump on, pull back on the 1/2 inch clear tubing, once you have that fully removed, you can turn your pump off, and now we're ready to start converting it over. So first, we're going to take this tan tubing off by loosening the thumb screw. Also loosen the thumb screw on the 1/2 inch clamp as well. Once you get that loose, take your tan tubing off, take your coupling out. That piece, which is what bridges the clear tubing to the tan tubing, is no longer going to be required. In place of that, we're simply going to take the new inline mix out sensor and substitute that piece for the coupling. So once you get it pushed down, the big end of the mix low sensor goes to the 1/2 inch tubing. The other end is going to go to the tan tubing. So we're going to make sure these are good and snug. Take your tan tubing that you took off, we're going to reapply it to the other end of the mix out sensor. Take your thumb screw and again tighten it down snug. Okay, now that we have that changed over to the mix out sensor, this is what it should look like. So that is all on that. Now we're going to focus on the mixed pickup tube, changing this over from the mixed pickup tube to the new stainless steel or plastic mixed bag adapter that Dairy Queen requires. So to start, take that clamp loose. I usually just pop this off first. You're going to have the mixed pickup tube disassembled. Put that down for now. Take the check valve out as well. It's a spring and a rubber bonnet. Loosen your thumb screw and then take the inline check valve off. So now that we have that disassembled, complete from the 1/2 inch tubing, we're going to put that down, and then now these two pieces we're going to save for the mixed bag adapter. You need to keep these pieces, they will be reused. So it's the check valve with the arrow on it, as well as the spring and the rubber bonnet. So keep these for later. Now we're going to get these two O-rings off. We're going to need them for the piece that goes inside the check valve itself. It's called the inner check valve. To do that, I use a napkin. If you have an O-ring removal tool, that's fine. But simply just pinch the O-rings if you're using a napkin, and then just roll them off. And then take your napkin, pinch the last one, roll it off as well. And then the mixed pickup tube we will no longer need, so you can discard that as well. Okay, now we're going to take the piece that you have to purchase in addition to what's currently in your machine, which is the inner part of the check valve. We're going to take the two O-rings we removed off the pickup tube, and we're going to apply them to the inner check valve on the two recessed areas or openings closest to the end where the check valve sits, and this last opening is where the clip goes through to hold it all together. So now that we have that, we're going to apply a little bit of Petrogel to the O-rings. Okay, we're going to take the outer check valve, we're going to take the spring in the black bonnet, and we're going to drop it in like so, with the black bonnet facing away from the side with the arrow. So if you drop it back in, it kind of looks like an eyeball looking back at you. That's how it's going to be assembled, with the rubber piece closest to the inner check valve. So you're going to just push, get that to assemble. You're going to take the clip you took off the mixed pickup tube earlier, we're going to put it through, and that is your inline mix check valve. So that's it. Now that we have that, you're going to take your 1/2 inch clear tubing, and we're going to cut 3 inches approximately into the 1/2 inch clear tubing to allow room for the check valve. So approximately 3 inches. You're just going to cut with scissors, or if you have tubing cutters, that works as well. Now we have 2 pieces. We're going to take our check valve, a 1/2 inch clamp, which you will need 2 extra 1/2 inch clamps per side that you do this. So we're going to apply the small piece of tubing that we just cut off to the bottom of the check valve, which is the end that does not have the arrow on it, or closest to the clip that you put through. So simply just push that on. Put your clamp on, tighten down to where it's good and snug, and then you're good to go. Now we're going to take another clamp. Again, you need 2 extra. This is why, because we're adding this piece. We're going to put it on the other end, push that into place. Again, the tubing that has the mix out sensor on it is where we're going to connect this check valve into, and the arrow goes pointing towards the check valve. So in other words, it indicates mix flow. So the direction you want the mix to go is the direction in which the arrow faces. So we're going to tighten that down good and snug, and then now we're going to take our mix bag adapter and we're going to apply it to the end of here with a 1/2 inch clamp that is right here. So now that we have our 1/2 inch clamp, our mix bag adapter, either plastic or stainless, this one's stainless, we're going to put our clamp on first. We're going to push this in. The main thing about this mix bag adapter, this particular one, is you have a smaller recessed, I guess you would say beveled stainless piece that you can attach a hose onto, and then a bigger one. If you do not have a smaller hose, a 3/8 hose, this end here will apply to the 1/2 inch hose. You want to push it down onto the second level, which is the thicker level, and then tighten down your thumb screw onto that thicker level. This will ensure you have a good seal, that way you don't lose any air and or mix. So now that we have that assembled, this is what the end product should look like. We have our mix out sensor. It goes in place of that coupling. We have our inline check valve now, and our mix bag adapter. So this is what it should look like when you are completely done before you reinstall your hoses. Now that we have all that together, you're simply going to follow the standard procedure of feeding your hose through. So we're going to make sure the hose, if it still has a curve to it, it curves to the left, and then we're going to make sure we feed through the left channel in this pump housing. So simply just push it up through. And again, holding this mix out sensor with the probes facing outward, that way we can connect to it, or to the right, whichever you prefer. That way we have room to connect our mix out cord to it. Okay, now that we have that fed all the way to where it stops on the left side of the pump housing, we're going to take the tan tubing like always, push it onto the 3-way T where it has always been, and then tighten down good and snug. You're then going to take your mix, which used to be hooked up to the mix low system, and connect it to this new mix out sensor. Again, the cord has 2 holes in it. You have 2 prongs here. Just line them up, push on until it stops. And then this is what the end product looks like once you have it fully installed into the machine.